and welcome to another edition of Droppin Baums with me, your host, Corey Baumeister. As always, brought to you by the lovely folks over at Star City Games, bringing you the best in online trading card needs, as well as online tournaments, which is where this deck list came from. Leon Milton took third place with this super cool looking Sultai ramp deck, bringing back a lot of the core elements that is in Sultai ramp in standard right now, but porting over some extra power here into the historic format. I really love the look of this deck. I'm a huge Sultai ramp fan in standard. For those of you who haven't caught my streams or anything, I play a ton of this deck because, well, we get a beautiful bird serpent with it. How can I really resist? So a Yorion deck in historic too. I mean, that's just putting it over the top. So I think this deck is actually quite well positioned, mostly because of the power of Shadow's Verdict. And Leon recognized this as well by just playing the 4 copies. So good against all these Gruul decks. Jund Sacrifice List, Rakdos Arcanist. Really great against everything but these Sultai Mirrors, which are going to be popping up a little bit more because this deck's so popular, and Azorius Control. Outside of that, that card's just an all-star. So we played 3 exciting matches you can fast forward to below, as well as the deck tech, where I talk about some changes I would make to the deck. They're not many because this deck is quite nice, but don't fast forward until the end if you don't want the matches spoiled, because I do talk about the individual matches over there. So without any further ado, enjoy round number 1. All right, and welcome to round number 1 here with Sultai Ramp. Looks like we're on the draw against another Yorion player. Come on, there can't be that many Yorion decks in historic. I think this is still okay. We do have Shadow's Verdict, which is essentially a dead card. Vorinclex is only going to be okay, but we do have a turn to explore into making a land drop, so we're going to keep. Kind of a dead card here, but would I keep this as a 6? I think I would, so I think this is perfectly fine. All right, we got to go with Fabled Passage here to get a green source. Is this just a mirror? Not the exact first match I wanted to have, but we'll see. All right, let's get a forest. Okay, getting enough lands where we probably don't have to play this. Doesn't matter too much. We'll start with this. Explore. And play this and say go. Not a bad start for us here. All right. And just buying Yorion, huh? Okay. Yeah, I think I want to just do some ramping here. It's either that or just binding on nothing or buying Yorion, which we can still buy Yorion, but more than likely we're still just going to want to Omen here to set up our draws. Okay, so if we go like this, then we could Omen now, and if we get, let's say, like a Zagoth Triumph, we would probably want to play that. So I think we will do it just because it's pretty clear Yorion decks game 1 don't bluff too much. Okay, I think I'm fine with both of these just because this is our second green source for a Vorinclex. And then another Omen, can't complain about it. So yeah, let's do this. And say go. Now we can just slam Vorinclex next turn, shuts off binding the old gods from him. And I mean, outside of that, I mean, we'll just see how much spot removal they actually have. And it prevents them from getting a land this turn. So we're definitely just klexing on our opponent here. All right, here it comes. Hopefully this really gets them. So, I mean, you know, they can't even have another binding here to deal with it. Vorinclex is pretty tough with these Sultai decks on ways to actually kill it. And it makes our binding even a little bit better. We get to kill and put the land into play on the same turn, which is pretty sweet. Not today. Sorry. Okay, so now do we want to do anything here with binding? Binding's just okay. We can start with Omen, see what we get. Definitely want that. Hope our opponent doesn't have Heartless Act. So green. We do need another green source. I guess the Haven will do it. So let's take this. So I can go Seagate Restoration plus Wolfwillow Haven. I think that's actually good here. So let's pay some life. Let's Wolfwillow this. And I think we just Binding here. We get a land just in case they do kill our Vorinclex. Then they don't get to actually have a removal spell just sitting on the battlefield. I think that's worth it. Bang. And next turn we'll just ultimate them. All right, let's see what we got to offer. Okay. Let's see what we got to offer with Ultimatum in Historic here. I know we have just a ton of great options. Okay, so we go like this. Yep. All right, so Alrund's Epiphany, pretty sure. Then we can go like, and then we could just go, I guess we lost Vorinclex. That is a pretty popular one to go with it. Could go like this. I kind of like Alrund's Epiphany plus this and Liliana. Maybe not, though. What if we just get Planeswalkers galore here? Like, the Alrund's Epiphany actually isn't great right now. Just because if they give us that and just Plane-wide Celebration, we just get a lot of tokens. Oh, then they're just dead. So yeah, never mind. It's perfectly fine. And if they give us this plus Plane-wide Celebration, they're dead. So I think this one seems pretty good. I think there's a lot of options that kind of give us the win here. This one seems pretty strong. Okay, so if we go like this on top, so we want to proliferate how many times here? It's just all proliferate.
If I were you, I'd just surrender right
Okay. Now let's have them. Now let's ultimate. Yeah. That is really nice. You can Liliana. We almost timed out there. You can Liliana ultimate right away with either Vorinclex or Plane-wide Celebration, which is pretty nice if you do draw one of them. There's a lot more random one-ofs in this deck, but they all kind of still circle back, which is pretty sweet. Okay, so now sideboarding. Don't really want that. Don't really want this. Thought Distortion seems awesome. Necromentia for their ultimatum seems great. I like Thoughtseize in this matchup and Negate. Aether Gust is actually pretty fine too. So let's get out some of the bad removal. Definitely don't want those. Pelucranos doesn't seem great, and Shadow's Verdicts are the auto takeout. Now Extinction Events, not great. Heartless Act for their Vorinclexes are decent, but not amazing. I would almost rather have Brazen Borrow. So what if we took out these and brought in Brazens and just like this? This leaves us pretty low on removal, but assuming, you know, they're playing a deck pretty close to ours, removal isn't great against them. So I think I like this. Let's give this a shot. We still have Binding as our good removal spell, and I think that's enough. The mirror match right away. I don't know how popular this deck is. I played a couple practice matches getting ready for this bomb, and I didn't play against the mirror at all, so we'll see how popular it really is. So, this has got to be a mulligan. Yeah, if we get one land and it's an island, Omen is going to dig us out of this, but this isn't worth it. Okay, I guess we'll mulligan again. Okay, we can keep this. This sounds actually pretty good. Since we're already so low on resources, I don't think we can afford a Thoughtseize. And now I think it's either Explore or Omen. And it's pretty close. Could put back a land as well. But you put back a land, then Explore gets worse, so I think we just put back Explore. Not 100% on that, but this seems like a decent turn 2 and turn 3 play. Regretting the not putting back a land a little bit now. But we do just need to hit our land drops anyways, so I think it's totally fine. Okay. Alrighty. We'll just go with this and we'll say go. We don't want to play Omen now. We're okay if they counter it because we do have Narset. And we don't want to play it right away into the Binding of the Old Gods. Binding the Old Gods. I add an of with that card all the time, which is just crazy. Okay. Yep. Interesting. I have seen versions that play this card as well, and I think it's decent. I'm just not a big fan of these style of cards that don't do anything and they just find you a card. But of course they are decent at times. Do not want lands. And now we are pretty vulnerable if they like searched up a Nissa, but I don't think we can do too much about it. So I think I am still gonna just jam Narset while we can. The real question is just what land do I want? Do I want a second black? Do I want access to another green? With having green here and with Wolf Willow, I kind of want to turn this blue. Yeah, let's do that. Let's try Narset and really hope our opponent does not have a Nissa. Okay. Yeah, I think I'll take the Liliana. No Nissa. Okay, that's not awful, but they are setting up quite nicely for an ultimatum. 1, 2, 3, yep. They are definitely there. So we need some interaction. Negate or Gust. Okay, excellent. All right, so let's go like this. So I can play this forest, put the Wolf Willow Haven on this, and then explore and put this land into play. Yeah, I like that. Okay. Okay, now do we want another black or blue? Probably black since this is another blue source and we have a Liliana, so yeah, maybe a no-brainer there. All right. We have a negate, you know about it. Let's see if they just want to jam anyways. It's definitely a good card. And if they don't have ultimatum, they're probably going to find it off of this. I think I am going to hit this just because this frees up our mana for next turn, where I can just play Liliana. At least it does something if they have ultimatum. Okay, is it just an all runs? Yeah, we don't really have a choice. Okay, now do we want red? Black, black, blue, 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 blue. 3 green, blue, blue, black, black. It doesn't matter, so we might as well do this in case we top deck Velki. And at least we can cast this next turn, do some damage with the Proliferate. But yeah, this is, of course, scary. Yeah, and if they have that into ultimatum, they get to kill our Narset. But, I mean, the only decision we have is holding on to negate. It would just be crazy if they don't have ultimatum. The only thing I could see is that they mastermind Inquisition for a Narset to have that bridge gap. Okay, that's not bad. That's not bad at all. We'll take this. Wow, their hand was pretty shut down with our Narset, though. Okay, well, I guess we can just ultimate, huh? So we can... Proliferate. We only need to proliferate 3 times. And then we could return Narset to our hand. Because if we proliferate 4 times and put Liliana at 1 at the end of the turn, they'll just attack it down. I mean, they're pretty dead anyways, but yeah, let's go like this. So proliferate, 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 return Narset. And yep, spin it.
They do say you can't take it with you.
Oh, yes. Yes. Well, that was pretty lucky drawing the 1 of there. But to be fair, if you just draw Ultimatum, you also get that and something else. So we technically had 5 outs in our deck. But hey, Liliana Ultimate 2 games in a row for the win. You know I'm a fan of this. So stay tuned for round number 2. Let's try to do it all over again. All right, and welcome to round number 2 here with Sultai Ramp. Looks like we are on the play. No companion. So, you know, you kind of got to think like Gruul, maybe some Jund, could be blue-white control. Doesn't really narrow it down too much in Historic these days. But regardless, we'll try to keep a good hand. And I think this is a perfectly fine hand. I will keep. The only hand or deck we know that this card is for sure dead against, or the only companion, is Yorion. So, you know, this is probably going to be a good card. And this hand looks pretty sweet. I like Pact and Negation as a 1-of. That card can really get people. If I can go Ultimatum and, like, protect from an Ultimatum or a Bolas's Citadel or something, that seems awesome. So, we'll just play a Triome and say go. Hello. Uh-oh. Is it blue-white control? Okay. Yeah, let's go like this. Okay, I do want to go with blue. We'll say go. Now next turn we can just Omen into finding a land and then Omen again. Not too sure how this matchup's supposed to go, but I can't imagine it's awful. Alright, so let's go like this and just say go. We'll double Omen or maybe commit like a Narset. Okay, Omen. Definitely keep a Narset. I might not get the land. I mean, if we were rushing to Ultimatum, that's fine, but we're really not. So I think I'll just grab Narset here. Especially because we're likely to Omen again. 1 land is not the worst. So I think we'll do that, but not crazy in love with it. But we would like to for sure make our 5th land drop. Don't really want to be drawing those. Now the question is, do we want to try to jam Narset with maybe with Pact backup? To really force it through? It is a great card in this matchup. I do think it's worth it. And we probably want this to be under green. Let's go for it. If this is Behold, they're put in a weird spot, whether they counter it or just Behold and let it live. Yeah, okay. Don't even have to waste our Pact. Shouldn't say waste because it is very nice to get Narset to resolve because they do play, you know, a decent amount of Beholds. Even to Fairy ticking up, you know, it has some applications. Okay. Now, I probably just want to get the Ultimatum here. Binding is not that great against him. Explorer is decent here, but let's just get the biggins. Then we'll set up a turn where we can Ultimatum with Pact and go to town. This deck is sweet. Shadow's Verdict, we definitely found our matchup where it's still bad. Bet they're thinking if they want to cast out. And I would love it if they did. With our commit. Yeah, we can try to set up a commit memory kind of thing too. This one will take the binding. Now we're in a bit of an awkward spot because if they do go Shark Typhoon for 2 and then attack Narset, we'd like to be able to commit. So I think we will just say go. Feels bad. And then if they go to Fairy Tuck Narset, then we can just binding it. Yeah. So yeah, let's just commit this. Because we can also, if we draw a land and they don't kill Narset, we can just memory with Pact backup and just get a whole new hand. Not the best when we have a full hand, but it does drain their hand, which is pretty good. Yeah, this matchup doesn't seem so bad, actually. Game 1, a little rough since we have so much removal that's absolutely dead, but we can dance around them. A lot of decks I've been playing lately have a pretty bad blue-white control matchup, and I always see Hollowed Fountain, and I'm like, no, but not as bad here. So they can't draw. I think you almost have to tuck unless you untap and have a negate. Yeah, I feel like you have to. Okay, that's not great. I just don't want to get risky with Explore and Miss, because that's exactly how we lose the game on the spot. Grafdigger's Cage. Yeah, I don't think this stops Cage. So, yeah, sure. Don't think that stops Cage. At least I'm going to try. But I'm pretty sure that doesn't, because you exile the cards. Yeah, we're going to find out. We're going to find out. So we are going to shuffle away our Narset here, which is a bit of a bummer. I guess we could... We could sack this to try to... Yeah, I don't think it was worth it. Alright, so... Can we afford to get Ketria Triome? I think we can. Okay. Do think I want to explore this time. We want to find a 7th land. Okay, and could binding this. Or we could just buy Yorion. Really don't think this does anything. Let me read this one more time. Search your library for up to 3 monocolored cards, different names, exile them. An opponent chooses one of them. You may cast the other cards without paying their mana cost. Yeah, it's not saying from library. So with that being the case, I do think Yorion is just a little bit better. Yeah. And then I think we'll go for it with the ultimatum with a pack backup. Now it gets a little awkward if they just say go and have this much mana open. Then maybe we don't want to do that, but we'll see. Okay. It says the spot you don't want to be in, them with a resolve to fairy. But as long as they don't have like land, double negate, or, you know, negate dispute or something. Pretty tough to play around a pact here. Now we get to play around center with this draw. So can cast it here. Let's go for it. I think our opponent's doing the double check as well to make sure we actually get to play stuff. We're either going to look really silly here if they let it resolve because they think we're being stupid, or they're going to look silly. And I bet that's what they're debating right now. Now, what to get if this does resolve? Probably all run. Okay. All run, Vorinclex, Liliana. And this is okay as well, but yeah, that combination just seems too good to me. Ultimate of Liliana is just bananas. So let's do this. I'm on the edge of my seat here to see if we've made a grave error. Okay. So we want Vorinclex to resolve first. Okay. Thank God we didn't make a grave error. Didn't even have to use the pack. That was kind of disappointing. I wanted to. Alright, so let's get this removal out of here. Now let's bring in negates. Brazen Borrowers aren't bad. Thought Distortion's pretty sweet. If this resolves, it's insane, but that's probably not good enough. No, basically the rest of our cards here we're not in love with. And I wouldn't really want any of them in my deck if I didn't have to. So, yeah, nothing else we really need to take out. Now it just comes down to what we want for our best answers to Shark Typhoon tokens, I think. And that would be Heartless Axe. And then Necromentia. So we could bring in these three. And then Necromentia for like Teferis is fine. It's not great. Could also do Eliminate. If they have Narset, then that kind of hits two things. And hit Narset and Sharks. That's viable. And that's, I mean, if this hits all the Sharks and so does this, there's no reason not to play this. So let's do Eliminate over that. And let's bring in the one Necromentia. Why not? We hope to not draw any of those cards, but if we do, at least they're serviceable. All right, on the draw against Azorius control. No, not again. Yeah, a lot of one-ofs plus just no lands. If we just didn't have like these two and they were like Narset and maybe Omen of the Sea or something, I would actually keep this because it's the best land to have, but with just having two cards you don't want anyways, I'm gonna mulligan. Okay, well. So. I don't think we can really keep this either. If we can rattle off some lands, you know, casting this is great, but with how many counter spells they have, it's still not ideal. Plus we have two cards we don't really want. And almost three. Brazen's not very good, so we'll mulligan again. Cool. Well, let's keep. Pretty easy put back here. Let's just put back a couple ultimatums. It's going to be a tough one. Those were some janky hands. And I mean, that's going to happen, though, with this style of deck that has so many one-ofs and such a high converted mana cost that it will happen, but because it has happened to us a lot so far this bomb. But we're yet to lose a game, so we can't complain too much. This will be the true test, though. Okay, that's not great. Explore. We'll go with green and we'll pass. The Mind Stone. Land. Boo. Don't think there's a big reason to cast Velki instead of putting Yorion in our hand. So yeah, let's do that. Now, if they have Teferi, we have to hope they don't have a 2-mana counterspell like Censor. And then we have to hope we draw land or we pretty much just die on the spot. So, not great. Not great. Okay, we don't mind that at all. At least not for a while. Ugh. Alright, we just want to play something. Even if we take a peek at their hand, get a little bit of information. And if it eats up a counterspell. Perfect. Okay. Looks like we are back at least. So, okay, we didn't time out anything. We didn't miss a draw step. We're set. We're set. Sorry about that, folks. Alright, so looks like they didn't censor. We just got to take a peek at their hand, which contained this, and then they drew a couple of cards. So, alright, we're live. No! No! Alright, well that's not gonna help. Tilt. That is a few too many bindings. Few too many bindings. Okay. Alright, still looking very grim here. Especially because they just have 2 counter spells for our first 2 bindings. We're essentially at like a sub 5% chance to win this. But we're going to fight the good fight. You never know. If a Teferi hits, we can probably stop fighting the good fight. Left in Baffling End? What? Okay. Yeah, we're not beating that. We're just not beating that. There's no way. Teferi with Jegantha. They have 2 answers for our first 2 bindings. We'll pack that one in. We'll pack that one in. Okay, any changes we want to make? I mean, not really. We didn't really see anything else. We just gotta not mulligan to 5. Not mulligan to 5 would be my preferred hand here. Looking forward to this 3rd game. All right. I would love to play first. Yeah, I think this seems totally reasonable. We can cycle on 2 if we don't want to try to cast it. We have a counter spell for a possible early Narset. And then, you know, a little bit of pressure as well as maybe bounce a Search, bounce a Mind Stone, something like that. So I think this is a keeper. All right. A pass to you. Okay. So now it's just which land do we want to play? Doesn't matter a ton. But I think we go like this and go with blue. Yeah. And then more than likely black and green as our last 2 here. See what they play. If we want to cycle or not. Might just Petty Theft, bounce a Mind Stone or something like that if they go for that. So then Brazen Borrower does give us 2 plays for this turn and next turn. But cycling Migration Path, if they do nothing, seems fine to me as well. Okay. Yeah, it seems like a safe cycle if they just, you know, foretold a Behold, I would guess. Ooh, that's nice. That's a nice thing to work towards. Yes, I love that. Okay, so I think I'm cool just playing this. I don't want to just play Brazen Borrower. I want to get some value out of it. And if this is like a Behold, we're going to let that resolve for sure. And just maybe try to Migration Path next turn. I guess if they played a Narset, that would be the one Punisher case here. Because then I'm kind of obligated to negate it, where otherwise I could just play Brazen Borrower and just attack it down. Okay, wasn't there. All right. Now, this is like the only chance I can cast this. Otherwise, I'd have to hold up Negate for Teferi. So I think I will go for it. Pretty unlikely to resolve, but if they do have like a Behold they're trying to resolve, then maybe it will work. And if it works, the game is basically over. Pretty good. It's just a question of, do I want to try to cast this again next turn? And I kind of don't think I do. I would rather just try to draw a land in the next few turns on Thought Distortion and just hold up Counter Magic for next turn. Because the worst case scenario of them having another counter spell, which realistically is pretty likely, countering that into Teferi untap, and then I Thought Distortion, if I even drew a land, and then they still just have an active Teferi, I'm still probably behind, even though they wouldn't have a hand. So that's the train wreck scenario I want to avoid. But, you know, if they just did that and don't play a third land, I'm going to regret it. But, okay. I don't think I want to just play Binding. No. So we're just going to go like this. We could buy Yorion. And then just hold up Negate. I think I'm okay with that. Then we're praying to the Magic Gods for... We don't care about that. Praying to the Magic Gods for an untapped land. Thought Distortion, a little less cool against Foretell cards, but still not bad. No. Ooh, it got there. I mean, it just can't be anything else, right? All right. Spin them. All right. Not bad, not bad. Now, I'm sure they do have a Behold, though, so they're not dead. This could be like a Saw It Coming if they wanted to cycle first. If they had a Behold, you would think that you want to... cast that first. So we don't want green. Guess we do need black. Or we just go with blue since we have more blue cards in our hand. I'm going to go with blue. Pelucranos, eh? I think that's better than Yorion right now. I think I would have really liked a land to go for Kiora, but Pelucranos is okay. Start the clock. Yeah, I think this is a Saw It Coming. Yep. All the signs pointed it to not being a Behold. So we want a full control here. Float a blue. Now blue, blue, green, green. Still think I just want to get a blue. Question is, do we want to just play Brazen Borrower and get a clock going? It's not that good, but I think it's okay. Just because if like we don't have anything to play next turn, we can just jam Yorion, and that's actually a clock. That's something to play. Whoa, just giving up? Just giving up? Yeah, I guess Thought Distortion was a bit of a beating. We've been drawing some of these. I was just going to say, we've been drawing these one-ofs and making them look great, but the deck has a ton of one-ofs, so that's just going to happen. Adds to a little bit of randomness to the matches, which is pretty sweet. So, all right, stay tuned for round number 3. See if we can get that perfect 3-0. See you soon. All right, and welcome to round number 3 here with Sultai Ramp on the play against Jegantha. So we got to think we're up against a Jund sacrifice list, which, I mean, best deck in the format. I think it's pretty easy to say that. Whichever version of Jund is probably the best deck. So I'm curious to see how this deck would do. I think it's actually probably not bad. Shadow's Verdict's insane. You know, all of our removal is pretty good. Man, we just cannot get hands with enough lands. That's always been our problem. Maybe we need to add some land with this deck. But yeah, pretty clear mulligan here. Okay, this hand is good. So, I mean, I do like my spells. We definitely like Explore. I think we do probably just get rid of a land and call it good. I think it's just one of these Bark Channel Pathways. Okay, let's play the Swamp to start and see what we draw. Okay, I'm glad that's not a Thoughtseize. Oh no, that's pretty awkward. I guess we can just go like this for green. Or we can just cast Omen. Nah, I think I'm gonna go like this and hope we get a land within the next few turns. Oh, that was perfect. That was perfect. Okay. Sure. Sure, you can have all the ovens you want. We'll do this to start. Pact was a pretty bad draw. We don't want any more ultimatums, so we'll get rid of those. Okay, and that's the reason you Omen first, because if we do get a tap land and need to Shadow's Verdict, this is perfect. Doubt we'll actually need the Shadow's Verdict this turn. Okay, I guess our opponent's just not on the creature plan. Doesn't really matter what lands we pick. We'll go like this and play Yorion. Now I think a pretty safe Yorion next turn and then try to ultimatum. And then good luck beating that, Jund. Now I could see them just going land company, and that is scary. But yeah, Midnight Reaper, that's not that good. Definitely not enough to push us to Shadow's Verdict yet, but completely reasonable to slap down a Yorion. Okay, we'll play this. Say go, and good luck beating our ultimatum next turn. Is this deck just gas? Is this deck just absolutely gas? We already have our land, so we don't need another one. Another Shadow's Verdict is okay. And there's the Coco. Not worth pacting, I don't think. Emergent Ultimatum is already just going to be unbelievable. Okay. That's a lot of cards. It's a lot of cards. So we could just Shadow's Verdict next turn if we're feeling like the ultimatum is not good enough. But let's think. Like we can, you know, get Liliana, get Vorinclex, get Alrund's Epiphany. And that seems great to me. Because they already can draw the amount of cards. There's no way we can prevent them from drawing cards, but we can take everything from them. So, green, 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 black, black, blue, blue. Okay. Let's do it. All right. Yeah, it's just so much better than, like, Velky. So, yeah, I'm doing it. I'm not 100% sure if this is the optimal line, but it's just always, I ask myself, what's better than this, and it just seems so good all the time. So we're just gonna keep jamming. Even if they give us Sovereign's Epiphany, we just get to Shadow's Verdict. Tough decisions. Okay. Okay. So let's start by making a token. And get some damage in. Now, I think we'll attack with everything. Probably negative to draw some cards. And then Shadow's Verdict. And get these creatures in there. Damage. Okay, so is that better than just verdicting and ticking up again? It's only at 8, so it's not close to ultimatum. I think I would rather draw cards than think about ultimatuming. Definitely not out of the woods because our opponent correctly didn't give us Liliana plus Vorinclex like our one opponent earlier did. You can't do that. Okay. Drawing a bunch of cards.
from battle to the grave.
Okay. We draw a couple of cards. Okay, so now we have access to 3 extra mana after we Shadow's Verdict. We almost assuredly have to Shadow's Verdict here. So we could just Shadow's Verdict, Wolf Willow Haven, and tap land. That seems good to me. And then maybe Seagate next turn. Or we could, this is probably better actually, Shadow's Verdict, Wolf Willow Haven, an untapped land, and then cycle? Yeah, let's do that. So we don't really need to be searching for lands. And the versatility of this card to be able to also cycle is pretty impressive. Okay, so let's go like this. We better not let the auto tapper get us here. And then let's go like this. And we'll say go. Now, definitely not out of the woods just because they do have a full grip. But we do got this pact, which is going to be helpful. Don't think I care enough about that. They just play a couple creatures that I can Shadow's Verdict again. We won't have to pact. It's Collected Company that scares me a little bit. And Mayhem Devil to be able to deal with Liliana. I believe they played a land already. Woe Strider. Yep, I think that's fine. Claim. That I actually don't want to see. I guess it's not that big of a deal. If they get rid of Yorion, we get to draw a card. I think that's fine. You get to draw a card, I get to draw a card. It's only fair. Okay. All right. We'll still cycle. And binding. Okay. Now, what do we want to do? 3, 4, 5, 6. So we can Shadow's Verdict, Wolfhaven, and binding one of these ovens. The real question is, are we jumping the gun on another Shadow's Verdict here? But I honestly think we really aren't. Unless we just binding the priest and make a token with Lily. It's not bad. It's definitely interesting. Do want to get a little bit more value with our Shadow's Verdict, I think. So I am going to start with this. I do also just want a Seagate. That's the risky line, I think, but it has the high upside. I don't think we're gonna die next turn. All right, we're gonna get a little froggy here. Just draw 6. Hopefully we draw like a Heartless Act or Eliminate, something to deal with this. A little scary there. We did not. So we can explore first. Okay, something to do at least. So let's go like this. We'll make a token. We got Omen for next turn. I mean, next turn we have the World. We have the World at our fingertips. We might even want to just Wolf Willow here since we have so much action. Yeah, I'm in. And now we still got the Pact and now plenty of mana to pay for it. But like Mayhem Devil or something, we have to counter. This play may get us into trouble. It might be a little bit too aggressive. Or a little bit too conservative, I should say. But I think we should be okay. I think we'll probably need a pack to stay alive, though. That's how close I think we are to death. Midnight Reaper. I think that's okay. That does draw them a ton of cards. But let's think if they just play Mayhem Devil, then it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then we're dead. So we have to let this resolve. Think that would probably be lethal as well, right? They attack for 3, put us to 6. Yeah, we can't let that happen. I'm scared. Okay. No Mayhem Devil, please. Yeah, I'm sure that's what they're digging for. 4. Claim is lethal now too. Yeah, I don't feel good about this. Three. 2. Yeah, that's game. Dang it. Dang it. All right. Well played. Yeah, I guess we just had to Shadow's verdict there. I wonder if we still maybe died. You know, like, that deck does have game. That's for sure. All right, that was game one. Gross. Gross. All right, so we have cages for them. Just quite strong. Shuts down Collected Company and the graveyard. Aether Gust is pretty good. Outside of that, nothing stands out. Narset's pretty bad. Supreme Will is not great. Pact of Negation is not good. And then like Commit Memory is pretty weak. Outside of that, I think we'd like to keep everything else. Everything that kills creatures early is really important. Our Wrath effects are very good. And then any of the Emergent Ultimatum targets are pretty strong. That game felt like we shouldn't have lost. So I guess we screwed something up there. Maybe our Emergent Ultimatum package wasn't good. I don't know. That was a tough one. Yeah, and it could have just been a little too aggressive to try to see Gate Restoration, but we didn't have a lot of gas in the tank after that, so I don't know. Tough game. Okay, this hand's perfectly fine. We can keep. Vorin Kleck's not the card we really want in our opener, but we do have the Celebration card just to be able to have another Vorin Kleck's-like card. Meow. Okay. Explore into Migration Path is pretty strong. I shall play this. Like that. All right, yep, no reason not to do this. Could just casually have a turn 4 ultimatum if we draw it. So we need green and blue. Or green and black, it doesn't really matter. Go green and black. Okay. It's pretty strong. I think we just want a binding here. Almost just get rid of both of these creatures with binding and eliminate. Ooh, or I like this. Binding plus just buy Yorion. I think it's more important to get this Midnight Reaper out of here. Because then next turn we could go Yorion plus eliminate. I like that. All right, this is a big turn. We can fall really far behind with, a Thoughtseize or two, or just some really good cards to go with Priest. Another Company is a little scary. Okay. That is pretty damn good. Ugh. Probably just all runs here. Kind of redraw, see what we get. Protects us against Priest a little bit with Vorin Klex. Okay, that's pretty strong. 3, 4, 5, 4, okay. Nisa. Now do we want a Migration Path or untap and like Vorin Klex? I think I'd rather Migration Path, save Klex for next turn. We'll go with green to have just a ton of mana. Now, let's go like this. Now, let's see. We can attack and then kill priest. Yeah, I think we'll do that. So we're going to full control. Force the action now. It's going to be our 5th card in graveyard. Let's just hope we top deck Uro. Just kidding, just kidding. Ooh, interesting. Let's see, are they trying to take down the Jegantha? Guess that is pretty good. We did maybe screw ourselves out of being able to cast Ultimatum. Yeah, I guess that's kind of bad. Yeah, we should have went for a forest and at least a swamp or an island, because then Nissa untap would allow us to still cast Ultimatum. That was bad. So hopefully it doesn't come back to bite us. So we don't really need that much mana, so definitely incorrect. One of those forests should be an island. Now it especially feels bad. Okay. All right, collects them. We're going to try to go aggro here. We'll give them full information. All right. Vorinclex does seem decent for them to, or a little bit difficult for them to kill, but I'm sure they brought in some Noxious Grasp. Ooh, we like that. You can have a Jegantha. Okay. Yeah. Let's start by cycling that. Not going to be able to cast Ultimatum regardless here. Bring in the pain. Okay. Yeah, it feels like we're going to beat them with the old aggro plan from Sultai Ramp. The very common game plan. All right. Get them. So we're going to need a couple of claims. Like 2 claims is pretty good, because then they'd get rid of everything but Vorinclex, but even then, I don't think that's enough. I think they're dead. Okay. Well, this game I didn't think we were going to win, and the last one I didn't think, yeah, this game didn't look great, and last game looked very good, so that was kind of odd. Any changes we want to make? Maybe some Thought Seizes on the draw. There's just nothing I really want to take out except maybe a cage or 2. Probably just 1 at most. But it is such a good card. You never want to draw 2, but you always want to draw 1. 3 is kind of that magic number in an 80-card deck, you know? Normally 2 would be the perfect number if we were just a 60-card deck, but we're going to keep, but yeah. What was I saying? Oh, tilt. Okay. I think we will slap a cage down. Hopefully they do have answers for it this time, or at least one answer. Okay. Want to go like this. for black mana, and we might as well just throw the other cage down. It's going to be a cage match. It's pretty strong. All right, let's sack this. Uh-oh, are we legging out again? Okay. Cool, cool, cool. A little freeze frame there. Keep us on our toes. All right. Okay, what do we want to do here? Play this, and when do we want to cast this Heartless Act is the main thing. Think we want it to be on Priest. And we probably just want it to happen now or after the draw step. I think those are the considerations. And if we do it after the draw step, that allows him to use Castle, but it's not a super good use of it. So yeah, we're going to let him draw. And we're going to try it now. So they'd have to take a total of what? 5 or 6? If they wanted to activate Castle and kind of use this 2 mana. Okay, this is still in draw step. Okay. Yeah, see, we're fine with that. So that's a decent exchange for us. And now we get to start binding, and definitely binding Woe Strider. Hopefully their hand is just destroyed by these cages, which it easily could be. Woe Strider's gone, gone for good with the cage. Hiya. This deck is awesome, y'all. This deck is really sweet. Okay. All right. I think we're just going to get Zagoth for this one. Our mana base is a little rough. Now, I think we just binding once again and hit this. So that puts us in a bit of an awkward spot where we can't Yorion a binding, but the alternative is we take a lot of damage, so I think we kind of have to. So let's do this. Now the question is our pathway. And I think we just have to play this so we can all runs next turn in case we just draw a brick. 8. Klothys. Klothys is terrifying. Okay, now we'll get Ketri. Yeah, that's a bad one for us. Doesn't matter the land. All right, we're gonna need something good because that is a tough thing to deal with. Guess we can just go to race him here, but that is not a great race. Yeah, I'm afraid of that Klothys here. It really might get us. Unless for whatever reason they turn it into a creature. Yeah, plenty of foods in the graveyard, so we're on a 4-turn clock. At best. Oh, that was too good. All right, give us something that costs a lot of mana, preferably 7. Yeah, that's a great card right now. It's pretty good too. Okay. Does that help us? $10, $11, $12. God, not really. Not really. We can attack and double extinction event and get rid of everything. And then Vorinclex next turn. Otherwise, we're dead to them just having a creature, any creature, because they sack, they get 2 Mayhem Devil triggers, Priest triggers, and that's just way too bad. I think we got to do the Extinction Event play. I could just Extinction Event Odd. No. Well, I guess that one's not bad. 6, put them to 9. They're going to go up to 11. I just think we have to double Extinction Event. It's so rough. Yeah. All right. Odd. Even. Your go. God, now even like Mayhem Devil, Cat lowers the clock. Dreadhold Butcher almost just kills us. Okay, I think we need Emergent Ultimatum right here. That's not going to do it. Yep, wow, GG. Dang. That matchup doesn't feel horrifically bad, but man, Klothys was a tough card to deal with there. We had answers for everything but Klothys there. Oh, that was brutal. All right, everyone, stay tuned for the deck tech where we talk about the deck as a whole and any changes we would make. So far, not too many changes. I think I really like this deck, and all the pieces tend to make a lot of sense. So we'll see you in the deck tech where we'll chat about this deck a bit. All right, and welcome to the deck tech here with Sultai at Ramp. This deck list, as I mentioned in the intro, is brought to us by Leon Milton, who top forward this last Strixhaven Championship qualifier for the SCG Tour Online, and the list is just awesome. I really, really like it. Seems extremely powerful to me. I think the land count is completely reasonable. You know, we have 35, we have Seagate Restoration, you know, so 36, maybe one land on the short side. I could see cutting the Supreme Will to add one more land. I tend to almost just whenever I pick up a deck, add a land to it. And you did see us get a little bit land screwed a couple games in a row. So I think that's the one big change I would make to the main deck. Supreme Will is just a very mediocre card anyways. I saw some other lists that weren't playing Pact to Negation, but there's certain spots that card is just unbelievable. Against control, you know, we didn't actually need it against our Azorius control deck, but I felt like we should have needed it, right? Like they should have had a counter spell on that turn when they had 4 mana up, and then it would have just been insane. So, all right, let's talk about the deck in general. So, of course, this deck is ported over from Standard, from Sultai Ramp there, based around Emergent Ultimatum. And, you know, this whole deck and this archetype is really unlocked by Alrund's Epiphany. That's the main thing, because you get to Emergent Ultimatum for 1 card they almost can never give you, and then you just get 2 cards. And now we have a little bit more options and a little bit more power. So we'll go through it all to start here. 80 card deck, so we are a Yorion deck. One Pact of Negation can be great when you tap out and just need that turn where you need to protect your big spells. Emergent Ultimatum on turn 7 to protect from a counterspell there is huge, but even, on turn 4, if we go Migration Path, and let's say we have a lot of 7 drops or something, forcing through that spell is pretty strong there. Not so great against aggressive decks. So, that is one reason why it's not insane to me, but definitely worth it. 2 Omen of the Sea, great with Yorion. I would even want to maybe try to sneak in some more, to be honest, but this deck list is pretty tight, and Historic is a lot faster than Standard. So that's the reason to have a few less copies of Omen of the Sea. 2 Eliminates, 2 Heartless Acts, just great removal, pretty well-rounded removal against the whole format. Velki is one of our just targets for Emergent Ultimatum. We get Wolf Willowhaven, which was our go-to ramp spell from Standard, but one thing that we don't get is no Growth Spiral Explore effects in Standard, so being able to play Explore here is excellent. That 1 Supreme Will, which I would turn into a land, I think that would be my big change. 2 Narsets, a great card to play early, not so great against aggressive decks, so we saw me take it out against Jund Sacrifice. 1 Pelucranos, completely fine card. I like having 1 escape card in the deck just for that late game longevity. 4 Binding the Old Gods. This card's unbelievable. This is really another card that was the glue that held this deck together. Being able to kill anything and then also search for one of your triomes to set up for a very demanding converted mana cost spell like Emergent Ultimatum. So Binding just really does it all here. Migration Path is a new one that we get. A lot better than Cultivate. Cultivate only puts 1 land into play. The other land goes to your hand. Migration Path just straight puts you to land 5 and 6. And then Emergent Ultimatum is the next turn. So you can Emergent Ultimatum as soon as turn 4, which is just incredible. There were some draws where you could do that in Standard, but it involved a lot of Wolf Willowhavens and some Cultivates as well. So a little bit tougher there. And then we have 2 Extinction Event, 4 Shadow's Verdict. I love Shadow's Verdict right now in this format. Not only does it exile all the Cat Oven shenanigans with Jund Sacrifice, exiles Woe Striders from that deck, but then you play against like an Arcanist deck and you just destroy them with that too. So Shadow's Verdict, I think, is awesome. We saw it not quite work out against Jund in this last round, but that was a close match. That could have went either way, and I'm not too disappointed with losing that one. And I feel like I kind of want to rewatch our game 1 because I think there's something we could have done to win. It felt so razor close that there's something I feel like we screwed up on, or at least that's what I want to tell myself to, try to improve a little bit. 1 Nissa, perfectly fine. Almost never a card I am really going to search off Emergent Ultimatum unless they have like a Planeswalker on 3 and we want to go with something like Vorinclex, Nissa, Liliana, where they can't really give us Vorinclex and Liliana, so we automatically get to pressure a Teferi on 3 or a Narset on 3, something like that. Really has to be a niche case, in my opinion, for that to work. And another case where that actually works is when you're also out of gas in your hand. Otherwise, you just rather have Alrund's Epiphany if you have a good follow-up for the next turn. So Nissa is very rarely a target, but perfectly fine to draw. Just a great card. And then the rest, we kind of get to targets here. I guess Commit Memory is not necessarily a great target for Emergent Ultimatum, but just a good spell. And then Memory with Narset is quite strong. Then we have Velki, which is Tibalt for the other side. I don't search Velki as much when we do have Liliana in our deck, as well as Planewide Celebration. Not as needed, but still, once again, a great target if we may have drawn too many of our Emergent Ultimatum targets. Then we got Liliana, a really cool addition to this deck. Probably my favorite addition as far as the top end cards. Just being able to pair this with Planewide Celebration or Vorinclex to be able to ultimate right away, reduce them to 1 land. We saw it in round 1. Both matches ended that way, as well as up against Blue Eye Control. We ended the match with this as well. So incredible addition, extremely powerful. And what is kind of just a really underpowered planeswalker in general. So nice that the card finally found a home. Vorinclex holds together a lot of our draws with Emergent Ultimatum. 2 all-runs Epiphany, just in case you draw one or you just want to maybe cast your second Emergent Ultimatum. A lot of my piles begin with all-runs Epiphany because it's a really tough card to give your opponent because there's a lot of scenarios where you just die. Cure Best of the Sea Gods, we've seen that one in this deck. Seagate Restoration, I kind of want another one. I think that Supreme Will I would turn into another Seagate. Just because it's really good to search off Emergent Ultimatum, and that split side of just being able to cast it, draw a bunch of cards is very strong as well. Planewide Celebration is another card we can talk about. You know, I've only used it as just proliferate, and then maybe get back a Narset or something like that. But that's really all you need. It's just in case they take your Vorinclex, they Thoughtseize that, you draw it, you have another Vorinclex in your deck, essentially. And then Emergent Ultimatum. That's the deck. That is what you rely on to win with this deck, and definitely creates the power level that Sultai is missing since Uro has left the metagame. Now let's talk about the sideboard a little bit. I love the sideboard. I really haven't seen any changes I want to make except maybe get the Sandworm out of the deck because I can't think of a lot of decks where it's actually good against. Even like Spirits or Mono Blue, they're just going to have a lot of counter spells for it. I guess it's good to sneak in with Emergent Ultimatum, but that's one card I could see getting rid of. I would kind of just want another Narset. Another Narset seems awesome to me, and that card's just great. So 2 Thoughtseizes, great against control. Can be brought in against certain mid-range style decks as well, especially when you're on the draw, kind of break up your opponent's draws. Goblins I would bring it in against, for instance. Grafdigger's Cage, excellent in the format. Hits so many things. Jund Sacrifice, Goblins, just plenty of stuff. Celestia Company. We did learn that Emergent Ultimatum doesn't get hit by that, so makes sense why we have it in our sideboard. We had that brief moment of, could I be wrong on how this card's worded when we were playing against that Azorius control deck. Glad we figured it out. 2 Aethergust, great against Sultai, pretty good against Jund Sacrifice as well. 2 Negates, control, definitely for that, as well as maybe Jund Sacrifice if they're the Bolas' Citadel version, aka the version that doesn't run Jegantha. 2 Brazen Borrowers. I kind of thought this card was going to be pretty bad, but, decent against Azorius control. And I think that, there's a couple matchups that it's going to be okay against. But that card doesn't stick out as a must play for me either. So if we want to make room for some other cards, I could see that card going as well, but it's pretty good against Shark Typhoon where you don't want to leave in Eliminate and Heartless Act. Leaving in Brazen Borrower and Eliminate like we did, much better than having to leave in 4 black removal spells. Necromentia, I really like it in the mirror match. Decent against Goblins if you're really afraid of Muxus. Not my favorite type of card. I usually don't like these, take cards out of your deck, of your opponent's deck, and, have that be a game plan. I don't love it. But in the mirror match, Emergent Ultimatum is really how you just have that I win button. But the problem is they can just beat you with all the other cards. So not in love with that card either, but I think 1 is fine. Thought Distortion, love that one of so good against control. Being able to Emergent Ultimatum that out. As well as Sultai, I think I'd bring it in the mirror, even though we didn't. On the play, I think it seems decent. And then the Sandworm Convergence that I said I think I'd get rid of for a Narset. But otherwise, this deck is pretty airtight. Not a lot of changes from me. So, that just shows a thought-out deck by Leon Milton, making it all the way with a 10-2 record to the top 4 of this really tough tournament, these Strixhaven Championship qualifiers. So congrats to you, Milton. Very nice work. So that's going to do it for this week's Droppin Bombs. I had a lot of fun switching it up, getting into Historic. Now we have the Keldheim Championship this weekend, so we're going to see more Historic. We're going to see a little bit of Standard. Standard's a little bit more solved, so I don't think we'll be playing that next week, but definitely if some team comes up with a really cool Historic deck, you best believe we're going to be trying it out here on Droppin Baums. So look forward to some more historic action next week. And now let's have some lovely words from our sponsors. First up, we have Coalesce Apparel. If you like the shirts that I wear all the time, this being one of my favorite, this is the South Beach collection for the nice play on Wu-Tang, as well as the, all the colors on Magic. Big fan of this. Go to coalesceapparel.shop and use the gift code SCG to get yourself 10% off one of these awesome shirts. Cedric and the gang over there make some amazing products, and they're just as soft as they are cool. So next, we got SCG Premium. You can go to starcitygames.com/premium to sign up for this. It's $7.99. We'll gain you exclusive access and access to all the articles right when they come out from some of our amazing writers. So check that out today. Next up, you got the YouTube channel. You're watching it right now. It's on Droppin Baums is on the YouTube channel every week, as well as Versus Live, Commander Versus, and a ton of new stuff coming out. So please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, share these Droppin Baums. I really appreciate those shares, getting this content out there. Really appreciate it, everyone. Next up, SCG is buying cards. So if y'all want to pick up a little extra cash, you can actually mail cards into SCG. If your collection is big enough, we'll actually come to you. Or you can come into the game center in Roanoke to be able to sell some of your cards as well. And they're even giving 30% bonus store credit back to anybody who sells cards right now. So never a better time, and you won't be getting this deal any other time besides now with SCG. So take advantage of it while you can. Next up, we got Time Spiral Remastered. The set is fully, shown off, fully spoiled, and they look awesome. These individual cards are sweet, whether you like the Thoughtseizes, the Noble Hierarchs, the Become Immenses, really whatever. The Bloodbraid Elves. Oh my God, the Bloodbraid Elves. Fan me down on those. They are just gorgeous. So if you want to pick up some of these cards, you can go to starcitygames.com/TSR. Next up, we got Strixhaven pre-orders. Individual cards are out. We already have like 7 Strixhaven cards. Right now, it's just sealed product that we're getting right now. But if you just want to be the first one on your block to get some of these new Strixhaven cards, you definitely can by going to starcitygames.com/previews to order some of those today. And next up, we got the SCG Tour Online. That's where this deck list came from. Our buddy here, Leon Milton, picked up some nice cash, and got some other great prizes to boot. So if you want to do this, we don't have the tour going on this weekend because of the Keltime Championship, but we will be back next weekend. So you can go to starcitygames.com/SCG Tour Online to get more information. These, of course, if you've been living under a rock, 4-2 and better on a Friday and Saturday satellite will get you into that Sunday Strixhaven Championship qualifier. 5-1 or 6-0 will get you 1 or 2 buys into that tournament as well. And you can even go all the way to the Strixhaven Championship. Spike that, get into MPL, beat Paulo in the finals of Worlds. Who knows? The sky's the limits when you play on the SCG Online Tour. So check that out. And last but not least, we have the sale going on. And this week's sale, we have 15% off all non-English MTG singles. So thousands are on sale right now at starcitygames.com. Take advantage of this limited time offer and while the deal lasts. So 15% off all non-English Magic the Gathering singles now. So check that out, y'all. Really cool sale. This goes until Monday at 10:59 a.m. on March 29th. So check that out, my friends. A lot of cool stuff. A lot of awesome stuff going on at SCG, as always. So thanks, everybody, for tuning in, and we'll see you next week for more Droppin Baums action. Bye-bye.